How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 151 of Uncut, we're going to be discussing everything Bears from training camp. Justin Fields had another solid day along with numerous players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Myself and my co-host Zach, we're both at camp today, so we're going to jump into it and tell you guys everything that we saw today in day 13. Before I do introduce myself and Zach's last name, I guess, because I've already given up his first name, I would like to say the support recently, I mean, holy crap, it's been absolutely incredible. I'm trying not to swear. You guys have been absolutely awesome on Twitter, awesome on YouTube, awesome on Instagram, awesome everywhere. So if you want the most Bears coverage on the web, the most comprehensive coverage everywhere, do us a favor. If you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, do us a favor. Drop a like, subscribe, follow us, and we're going to keep bringing the content each and every day. I am your host, Chris Malpe. Today, after a long, sweaty day at training camp, I am joined with my co-host, Zach Rimbos. Zach, it's been an incredible day, but how are you doing so far? How was the drive home?
The drive home was pretty bad, a lot of traffic, but it was a great day today. You know, I had a blast. It was probably the most fun day I've had in attending a training camp. I've been down to Bourbonnais, and of course I was there earlier this month down at training camp, and today was a blast. We really, had a good connection with a lot of fans and some of the players as well, and so that was really, really good time.
Yeah, had a chance to speak to a couple players. We have fans offering us tickets. Never thought we'd be in a position where people want to see what we have to say and hear and listen to us so much, but hopefully we'll be back here in about 48 hours for one more go-around before training camp gets wrapped up. We've got tickets for Wednesday as well. But let's jump right into it, Zach. I mean, first and foremost, I feel like you have to start here with just Justin Fields and how he was today. Matt Nagy came out before camp this morning and talked about how he thought it was valuable that Fields got reps with the first team, obviously against the first team defense. We didn't see Fields essentially get many reps against the first team defense in 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s, but we saw him complete a lot of passes throughout the day to the first team wide receivers, most notably Allen Robinson as well as Darnell Mooney. What did you think about what you saw out of Fields today?
Yeah, he was I would give him the edge in terms of performance today. Dalton had struggles a lot during the practice. I would say Fields, as much as Nagy stated that he was going to get reps with the ones, we didn't really see much out of that between 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. We saw a few drills that they were running where he was completing passes to A-Rob. That's pretty much all I saw of him today, running with, I didn't see really any passes to Moody and those guys. But they were definitely connecting with the 2s and the 3s, Fields that was. But he definitely looked the best today. Obviously, he had some lows, and we can get into that a little bit later. But, he did have a pretty good day. And the defense stepped up pretty well today as well. So it was a good day.
Yeah, good day overall. And I have to agree with you. I would also give the edge to Fields. I think the only part where I would knock him today is he tried to squeeze a throw into a tight window that got picked off by Tease Tabor. But otherwise, he was pretty spot on with the 2s and the 1s when he had reps with them. He's creating some sort of special connection with Jesse James, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. He was hitting James all over the field today, but overall, I liked what I saw out of Fields. Once again, I'd give him an edge. Andy Dalton did have a couple of interceptions, and also notably, definitely a couple of overthrows that were pretty bad. But, and he got that Mitchell Trubisky call that I talked about a little bit earlier by a fan. He overthrew Damian Williams, and a fan shouted, "Let's go, Mitch," to Andy Dalton, which isn't essentially necessary, but still got a laugh out of some people nonetheless. A good day for Justin Fields. He did what he needed to do and was definitely impressive. Let's move on from the quarterbacks just for a second, because that's been 99% of what we've been talking about in all of these videos. Let's talk a little bit about players that were impressive on offense and defense today. We're going to start with the offensive side of the ball. Zach, I'll start first. I mean, I think I've got 3 or 4 players notably that stood out to me. First and foremost, obviously, being Jesse James, someone I just mentioned earlier. He's making catches with the first team, the second team, the third team, you name it. He's making plays all over the field. He is definitely a player that Ryan Pace brought in late in the process and is proving to be a really good signing. His veteran presence is definitely felt at Hallis Hall, and he just finds ways to get open. He caught a deep ball on a corner route today from Justin Fields. Of course, the one video that Zach didn't record, probably shouldn't have been recording, but we still were recording, and that was probably the one notable throw from Fields and catch by James that Zach didn't catch. But that was a really nice one, and he also caught some nice passes from Foles and Dalton as well. Next player I'm going to point out has to be Khalil Herbert. He's looking like he's going to retain that running back 3 spot behind Damien Williams and David Montgomery, obviously, until Tariq Cohen is back. That's not taking anything away from Artavis Pierce either. But Herbert looks great out of the backfield as a pass catcher, also just quick in his cuts and patient, waiting for holes to open up. I really liked what I saw from him. And then I'm going to point out 2 wide receivers as well. Jon'Vea Johnson just making plays all over. He's a name we've seen here every once in a while. Chris Lacey also was pretty solid today. Shout out him. He gave me his towel after practice. And then the last one I'd point out, someone who we haven't really seen or heard from in camp so far, has to be Daz Newsome. He was looking really explosive, just great off the line of scrimmage and creating space for himself in open field. He was doing running a lot of in routes, catching the ball in open space in stride, I must also add. He caught a lot of balls from Justin Fields today and looked pretty solid. So as the preseason continues, I think we're going to see more of Daz Newsome, the 5th-round pick out of North Carolina. He looked impressive, and I think he has a bright future in Chicago. So, Zach, I'm sorry if I stole everyone on offense, but there were a couple players that still stood out. So if you want to repeat anyone I said already or add anyone, who looked impressive to you today on offense?
So I would say first and foremost, just because of what happened with David Montgomery on Saturday against the Dolphins, he was in there for a couple of snaps and then he came out and looked a little shaky. So Damien Williams was in there getting a lot of reps today, obviously, because he's running back too. So he was getting a lot of reps today. I liked what I saw from him. He was running hard. He was hitting the hole pretty impressive from him today. Artavis Pierce also did get a lot of reps as well today. I saw him a lot in the receiving game. So he looked impressive to me too. And of course, Khalil Herbert, like you were saying to me, I really like our running back depth. I think a lot of, those 3 guys right there, they have shown a lot of promise. And that's not even talking about, we still have Cohen and Montgomery. And Montgomery, obviously, we know that he's the guy that he is. And then Cohen is so great in the receiving game. So we're missing a couple of pieces that we didn't see today. But those 3, Artavis Pierce, Damien Williams, and Khalil Herbert, all stood out today. I think they, stepped up into that role pretty well. I think Damiere Byrd looks pretty good. I like seeing him out there. He is very fast. Daz Newsome was also very fast. So we saw a lot from him today, like you were stating. But it was a pretty good day for a lot of people. I think, the offense, they weren't really taking deep shots as much, but when they were, the defense did step up and they had their plays and then the offense would go back at them. I do really like Jesse James. His role on this team has only been increasing. So we'll have to see how that goes with him, but he's just been another player that's been continually sticking out at training camp. So it's good to see that.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Damiere Byrd because he probably caught the only real bomb on the day. It was a pass where Nick Foles, who obviously doesn't matter, improvised, but Byrd also did a good job at, I guess, adjusting in space to being able to get back to the ball. It was a little bit underthrown, and that was caught, I believe, for a touchdown. He, as Marquise Godwin, we saw him take a little bit more of the reps at wide receiver 3, but we saw Byrd out there as well pretty consistently, sometimes with Godwin off the field and sometimes at wide receiver 4. So he had a sneaky good year last year with the Patriots, over 600 receiving yards with a little bit of a shakeup at quarterback, obviously Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham. So it should be interesting to see more from him moving forward. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the Bears offense had a really good day today, but the Bears defense had a great day as well. I'm going to mention 2 players in the secondary and 1 up front that I was impressed by. First and foremost, and Zach, I'm sure you're going to reflect this as well, Jaylon Johnson. 2 really impressive interceptions on the day. One, he jumped a route. I believe it was a throw from Dalton to Byrd, took it back for a pick 6. The takeover bucket came out for that one. Another one from Jaylon Johnson as well that was impressive was a deep ball, I believe, from Dalton as well. This one was going to Marquise Godwin. Looks like a touchdown, surefire the entire way. And Jaylon Johnson made a really athletic play on the ball, so he was looking really impressive today. Another one in the secondary I'm going to mention is Deion Bush. had a couple of good passes defended against Justin Fields. There was one play where Riley Ridley caught a ball, and then Deion Bush just straight up took it away. So the takeaway bucket came out for that one. He looked impressive. I think it might be the last year we see Tashawn Gibson. I was actually a little bit surprised to see him come back to Chicago on a cheap deal. I am glad he's back, but Deion Bush only continues to improve, and I think his time in Chicago will be here eventually. And then one player who, we haven't really heard from in a while, and he's fighting to get a roster spot, but looks really strong in some of the pass rushing drills, was LaCal London. I believe he's out of Illinois Wesleyan from a couple of years ago, or just last year. A local kid, correct me if I'm wrong, but he looked really strong today, looking really big. So that's who impressed me today on defense. But the defense, generally speaking, I would say played up to the par of the offense. We saw some really good football today from both sides. Zach, before we talk about just overall takeaways from today's camp, who impressed you on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, you have to know Jaylen just because I think he was the standout guy for the defense today. I think he was the guy that you could point to and say, this dude definitely had the best practice out of anybody else on the field. Just the way that he was jumping routes, and, of course, he had 2 interceptions. So it's really great to see from him. Of course, last year he had 14 pass breakups. You want to see a lot more in terms of interceptions from him. You want to see a lot more in terms of takeaways from the defense overall this year.
Hey, man, Jalen's got big shoes to fill with Kyle Fuller.
He does. Absolutely. And he's wearing Peanuts numbers. So, he's got a lot of the shoes to fill. But hopefully a lot more takeaways from him this season. He looked great. Another player that still continues to impress me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, is Kindle Vildor. I think he had some good breakups today in practice as well. He was jumping routes pretty well, and obviously they're not wearing pads and can go in full tackle, but he was there stopping people on routes very shortly. So, of course, he continues to impress on that defense. Jaylen, of course, and it was interesting. We saw a lot of Jordan Lucas, I felt like, today as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of a little over the place, but yeah, I mean, overall, I think, just like you were saying, the defense was doing their thing and then the offense would come right back and do their thing. So it was a pretty good back and forth day today, I feel like, for both sides of the ball. And I think the defense outshined a little bit today, but it was a good day.
Yeah, Jordan Lucas is wearing Kyle Fuller's old number, which obviously 23 used to be Devin Hester's number. Another funny moment that I remember was after camp when the players were walking out, Jordan Lucas was walking out, and this guy screams at Jordan Lucas, "Hey, man, you cannot be muffing punts," obviously in reference to him muffing a punt in Saturday's game, a punt or two in Saturday's game against the Miami Dolphins. He said, "You can't be muffing a punt wearing Hester's number. You can't be doing that. I love the Ducks," or not the Ducks. That was Thomas Graham Jr. I'm completely messing it up. This guy was saying a lot, but he said, "You can't be muffing punts wearing Hester's number," and he's also got big shoes to fill for Kyle Fuller. So should be interesting to see if Jordan Lucas can make this roster, but all signs pointing up for him. Before we close this out, let's talk about just overall takeaways we had from the day. I mean, there's a lot, to be completely honest. We saw good plays made out of basically everyone from every positional group. I think the offense definitely played on part of the defense. As I said earlier today, it was nice to see Justin Fields continue to do what he has to do. It's been a pretty good week for him, I would say. A pretty good preseason game. Nagy saying he's going to get more reps in the ones. We'll be looking for more of that on Wednesday for sure. But overall, I think the Bears have a lot to look forward to. We'll see what happens week 1. But all in all, I think this team's looking pretty solid offensively and defensively. I mean, obviously, you always expect the defense to be sound and swift with what they do. But the offense is looking solid. Saw a pretty good day out of most everyone. I don't know if there's anyone specifically that I can complain about except for Andy Dalton with a little bit of an errant day himself. But it was good to be there, good to be in person, a little bit different experience being there. But it's always so cool being in the Walter Payton Center. There were a lot of fans there today, I would say, at Hallis Hall. Fields 3 and 4 today outdoors. It was definitely a barn burner, but we were excited to be out there and appreciate all your guys' support, especially on Twitter. We're going to be back Wednesday. We love this stuff, and we do it for a living. And it's self-employed, but your guys' support keeps us coming back and continuing to do it. Zach, before we wrap this up, any last takeaways from camp?
Yeah, I'm just going to be interested to see how this works out with Andy because, obviously he knows his role, what he has to do. And he hasn't been anything special in practice for us, and this has been a thing throughout all of training camp. Andy's been, decent. He's had some good days. He's had some bad days. So I think, come week one, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out because Justin Fields does have that potential to give you that spectacular play. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Andy because today was definitely one of his down days in terms of he was not playing that well. I do love what I'm seeing from the defense, guys stepping up in the roles that they're needed. We're not seeing everybody go full on. Like I want to see more of Eddie Jackson, obviously, but he's not flying all over the field in practice. So, there's a lot more to see from these guys, and I'm so excited for this year. I think, this is it's a potential to be a really good year for us. And despite a very hard schedule, I've loved what I've seen in practice. So I think we've got a good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. There is just so much to look forward to. The defense is looking good. The defense is looking really deep. One thing I will say about Dalton, though, I still think overall he's been more sound than Foles and Trubisky were last year. So I don't think we can absolutely dog on the guy. I think he will be better than Mitch and Foles. I'd like to hope if he does get an opportunity week one and for however long. But you said it, he knows his role. It's only time before Justin Fields gets in there, and it should be interesting to see how that all plays out, especially as Fields continues to play as good as, if not better than Dalton in camp, based on what most reporters have been saying. But thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 151 of Uncut. Do us a favor, if you haven't already, drop a like on this video, subscribe, follow us. Your guys' support continues to mean the world for us. To us, man, I'm jumbling my words. It's been a long day, and it's only about 2:30 in the afternoon. But your guys' support means a ton to us. We're going to keep coming back with videos each and every day that we can, as long as you guys continue to support them. So we appreciate your support. If you want more content from us, head over to our website, beareddown.com. We just got that up and running yet again for the 2021-2022 season last week. So we're posting columns, articles, and blogs to keep you guys posted on everything Bears, training camp coverages, predictions, game previews, all the good stuff. So be sure to check out our website. The link to that is in the top of the description. We're continuing to do giveaways. We gave away some game tickets last week, and we're going to give away a Justin Fields jersey real soon. So if you want to enter our giveaways, see possible guests that we're going to have on the show, not possible guests that we are going to have on the show. You can see sneak peeks early. And also, give us tips on what you want to see on the channel. You can find us on social media. Follow the podcast at Beared Down on Instagram and Twitter. And finally, I've been harping on it this entire episode, but if you want to follow us on social media, our personal pages, you can find our links down in the description to our Instagram as well as our Twitter pages. That's probably where we're individually posting the most content when we're not recording these podcasts, and we've been killing it all summer. We've been a little bit inconsistent on the podcasts themselves, but we've been killing it in terms of social media this summer. So please be sure to check us out. The links to those are in the description. Zach Rimbos will be doing another one of these, recapping Wednesday in just about 48 hours. But any last words before we sign off?
Just appreciate the support, everybody. I mean, hopefully the crowd that we have from Twitter and what we got from today is over here watching, listening to what we have to say. But I really appreciate it. I'm excited to do this again Wednesday. I mean, there's a lot of restrictions in terms of what the Bears have for social media and media. So we're trying to just do as much as we can and not push the limits. But we really appreciate all the support. It's been awesome. It's been a little bit since I've jumped on I've been working all summer and my job just finished. So I've got about a month left until school starts up again, and then we're going to be back to it. So hopefully a lot more videos to come from us in the next few weeks here. And thank you guys. It's been great.
Yeah, we're just trying to carve out our space. And I'm sorry, I am absolutely dying over here. It's been a long day. I've been parched the entire day, but yeah, we're trying to carve out our own space and do what we can at camp. We don't have media passes. We're one of the biggest independent media companies, at least covering the Bears, that aren't credentialed, that do this thing on our own. So we're going to continue to work for you and get you the best coverage that we can. I think our goal one day, eventually, I think the end goal is to get credentialed by the Bears and to be able to do this hopefully for a living, or at least as a side gig on what we're eventually doing one day. But we're just getting going. We're all college students. That's what Beared Down, that's what this brand is. Aspiring sports media students. We bring in people from across the planet, across the country, that want to do different things professionally and try and give them good experience. So I think to eventually earn accreditation at the end of the day is our goal, and we're going to keep bringing you as much content as we can because we love this stuff. As I said it earlier to Zach, we're 21-year-olds in 8-year-olds' bodies when it comes to the Bears. We absolutely love this team and would be out there shouting and cheering for the team if we wanted to look less professional. But it's been a pleasure to be your host, guys. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, maybe even again tonight, but that is pretty much it for us. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.